So last week, I started this mission and challenge to getting 100k funds in total capital in 4 months before December. The week 1, which was last week, didn't begin well and it also didn't end well for me.
Today I've been having shows of bad luck, both in trading and in my normal job. Today, God, I just need to go home right now, sleep. I don't even want to check my chat.
It was a very rough and discouraging beginning. I had a plan to be up 4%.
Plan and target will be being up 4%.
But ended up 2% down. Though I know this wasn't going to be easy, to succeed in Forex or in anything, you need to be confident. But the truth is that you won't be confident if you are losing either. But I was prepared for times like this, mentally, physically, spiritually, and everything that Kali can do. I was prepared. I know last week was a very discouraging and frustrating rough starting, but trust me, last week 1 taught me something. And one of the things it taught me was to stop setting targets. It also taught me that getting this mission accomplished requires more than skills. And I had to look back at my plan and replan again. So this week too, we are going to start it with lessons from last week. And what I'm not going to be doing this week, first is I'm not going to be placing any target at all. Yeah, anything the market gives us at the end of the week, we take it, because this will help reduce pressure both mentally, because I was pressured last week to meet the target. And second thing I won't do is
I'll be aggressive in every challenge phase.
I will reduce my aggressive entry. Yes, I know I said I will be aggressive, but this time I think this aggression is starting to get me and I don't want to mess up this time. So we'll go for a more safer entry.
Today is Sunday, and the only time in the week that I do a top-down analysis against a coming week. Now, in this coming week, I have faith that it will be good in my favor. Faith is my only confidence in things I only hope for, and it's my assurance in things that I do not see. Next week, I put it on myself that it's going to be nice. Right now, I'm just going to run you through my top-down analysis, and the purpose of top-down analysis is not to predict the market's next move, but rather to build a story, like a logic behind every trade I will take next week. It's not to chase the market, but to follow the market on anything that you will do next week. And I'll be like, if market does this, then I'll do it like this. Market does this, then I'll do like this. It's not to predict the next move of the market.
On the 1 hour time frame, gold. I'm on gold on the 1 hour time frame. I have set up on gold, Euro USD. I'm just going to show you everything here. So gold is going to be the first one I'm analyzing. As you can see on the 1 hour time frame, I've already done my analysis and I've already had my plan set and done. But I'm just going to clear all these things and start from A to Z to explain everything, starting from the top down analysis. So first of all, let me clear everything and start the top down analysis from the weekly time frame. Now everything is clear. Now when I do my top down analysis, I start from the weekly time frame. Now this weekly time frame is what I do on this weekly time frame is to look at what previous week candle looks like. I will mark out the high and the low, and you get to find out the reason in a moment. So first of all, I will mark out the highest point of this previous candle. Last week candle closed in a bullish candle, meaning that on a long run this market is going to be high, is going to be bullish. You understand? On us we get a break. You understand? I'm going to mark the low here. I'm going to mark this low for a reason. You get to understand in a minute. Now, after this, I'm going to mark also the last 2 weeks last week low as well. You understand? We are going to be using this to create our narrative. Now, let's go down. Let me go down on the daily time frame. As you can see on this daily time frame, it's very, very clear that this market is on a bullish time frame, just like the way the weekly time frame told us. So now, for this market to be bullish, it has to do 2 things for us here. It has to either pull back, continue its bullish move, or just break structure to the upper side. And now, if this market is to pull back, the only place I see a high probability of bullish momentum kicking in again is this particular red candle. Let me highlight it with this box. Is this red candle here? If you go, this is on a daily time frame. If you go on the 4 hour time frame, you will see some kind of supply, or you will see some kind of demand zone right here. So if this market is to pull back, then we might be getting our reaction from here, but we can never tell right now. Remember, we are not here to predict the market, but rather just follow what the market does with this strategy of if he does this, we does the other one. So right now I'm just down on this daily time frame. There's not much of a detail to explain on this daily time frame. Now let's go down on the 4 hour time frame and start looking and start building our story idea on a broader and clearer version. Now, just like I said earlier, if gold is to continue high, it must break this high here. It must pull back. It either pulls back into a demand or supply zone, into a demand zone before gaining more another momentum, buying momentum to fly, or it just breaks above. Anyone at all, it must do one of them. Now, first of all, before I start breaking things down, let me first of all refine that daily demand zone into this demand zone. Let me refine it down on the 4 hour time frame. I always mark my demand zone are always the last candle before an impulse move. So that is my 4 hour demand zone. So this is going to be the plan for next week. Yeah, my plan is very, very simple. This is what I'll be doing next week. As you can see right here, this market has a double top here. This market has a double top here. I'm going to change the color to yellow to be able to identify which one is which. Now this market has some kind of double top there. So this is what we'll be doing, right? If market is able to in next week break above this place, then we'll be looking to buy the market all the way up to the new to create a new high and continue the trend, you understand. But if market doesn't do that and just want to pull back, then we'll also be looking for trade opportunity just to follow the market on which other one, anyone that the market does. Now let's go down to the 1 hour time frame where I will break it more down a little bit. Now remember I told you at the top down that market only has two things to do for us here. It either breaks, if market is going to be bullish, it either breaks this recent high and continue its bullish move, or pull back to demand zone to gain another momentum and continue its buy trend. Anywhere at all, the only thing to take away here is that we have two face to trade this bullish, and we also have two face to trade it bearish. Now for the bullish move, I'll be waiting. For me to trade this bullish, market has to take out this high, and if it gives me a move like this, clear this double top here, pull and just pull back into a demand zone, I'll be looking to buy. My target will be this last week high. If the market is going to be bullish, it must break down. Now if market doesn't do that and market just have another plan for itself, I'll be looking to sell. Now let me break it down by reading the structure of this market. Let me read the structure of this market so you understand. We came here, we formed a low. The substructure of this market is actually bearish. The substructure I mean is this little waves here at the substructure. While the swing structure, which is the overall trend on the higher time frame, is bullish. So with that being said, let me just read the chart. As you can see here, came here from the low, came here from the high, from another low here that broke structure to the downside, from a lower high, a lower low. So on this hourly time frame, you can clearly see that this market is on a short-term downtrend, which we can also take advantage of if market goes well. This pullback here have not cleared this high here. You understand? It haven't cleared this high here, so which still validates this downtrend. Until this high clears, then we'll start looking for a buy. But if that doesn't happen, now let me explain. If you remember the substructure pattern that I just drew, if you remember, this is the lowest point from that substructure. You understand? So this, I'll be looking to sell for a short term if market is able to clear this low here. And the reason why I'm marking this low for a clearance, I will go for a short term sell if market clears this low, is that if you look closely here, we have some kind of demand zone here. You understand? And buying pressure might potentially come from here, though this demand zone is weak because it wasn't able to take out this high here. You understand? But market is very, 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 very random. Buying pressure might just come from here. So for me to look for a sell right here, I won't be looking for any sell opportunity here. I'll wait for this demand zone to fail. Then if this demand zone fail, I'll be looking for a short-term sell when this zone break, and my first target will be this low here. Remember, if this market substructure trend is to be continued, then it must break this low here. You understand? And if it breaks this low, I will keep looking for more opportunities till market gets into a reasonable zone like this demand zone here. And if we get a reaction, then we will just keep following anything that market brings to the table. So that's just the briefest thing. That's just the briefest way I can explain this chart. The chart you saw earlier. I don't know. I'm not a good teacher when it comes to stuffs like this, but I just hope you understand. Now, moving on to the next chart. Now the next pair is Euro USD. I do have this trade set up. I've already even placed the trade limits on my MT5, but this is a new week. I'm just going to reanalyze everything and see if that trade is still valid for this week, if the story of last week and this week has changed. You understand? Let me just go down to the weekly time frame and explain everything you are seeing on your charts right now. Let me delete everything. Remember, on the weekly time frame, we are not here to trade the weekly time frame. We don't trade the weekly time frame because if you start trading this, sometimes it might even take a whole 10 years before the market structure aligns very well. You understand? So what we're doing on this weekly time frame is basically checking the previous week candle lows and high and marking it out. Now on this Euro USD, as you can see on the weekly time frame, these candles are some kind of, we have this previous we have this huge rejection right here, but they wasn't able to close with a body candle. I mean, compared with this one above. Now last week we also saw some same thing, saw some rejection above and rejection below, but that's not really just too important. Let's just mark out the highest high of last week, that was the high of last week, and the low of last week, here. And I'm also going to be marking on this. I'm also going to be marking the low of last 2 weeks. This side on my top down analysis, just building story behind everything. Now on the daily time frame, I'm just going to check the trend and see what market is actually doing on the daily time frame. You can clearly see that this market is still on a bullish trend, though the weekly time frame wasn't really clear. But looking at this here, you can see that this market is on a bullish trend. We had a low here, came here, formed a high, came here, formed a low, came here, formed a new high. So this market is clearly on a bullish trend, and yeah, it has also pulled back into a zone, point of interest, that is a POI zone. You see on the daily time frame, it has put it into this POI zone and rejected. Now this is what I'm going to be doing in a scenario like this, when market has a demand zone, has already met the demand zone. As you can see, it's reacted very cool. So daytime frame is bullish. I'm going to be marking the last week candle high here. You see this high here. The reason why I'm marking this is, if this market is to be bullish, then it must continue, it must break that high to continue. You understand? So that is it for daily time frame. Let's go down to the 4-hour time frame. Now this 4-hour time frame is basically where I build every storytelling and every other thing. This 4-hour time frame, as you can see, after market put into that daily demand zone and into that daily demand zone here, after market put into this daily demand zone, we saw some kind of rejection and reaction from it, and it flipped trend, it's reversed trend from bearish trend on the substructure to bullish. Now let me explain this better. As you can see here, this market was on a clear uptrend, as we had a low here, we came here, we formed the high, we came here, we broke structure. As you can see, we had a very sharp move on this 4-hour time frame that took out this low and validating a shift of structure from bullish to bearish, talking about substructure. Now after we had this low, we came here, we formed another low, and then this low that tapped into the daily demand zone. Now after they tap into the daily demand zone, we see markets react from the tap and here breaking structure to the upper side on this 4-hour time frame. You understand? Now market has already broken structure to this upper side on the 4-hour time frame. If I wanted to trade this market, I would have been looking to buy anywhere here. If I just want to make things simple, I was just looking to buy anywhere here, and my SL will be all the way down here, but that would be very too big for an SL. You understand? So I'm just going to go down lower on the 1-hour time frame and see if we build any narrative on, if we get to find anything on this 1 hour time frame. Right now on this 1 hour time frame, market only has one thing to do for us to continue bullish. Just the same thing I explained on gold. It's either the market pulls back into this demand zone right here, fill up this demand zone, then start flying. It's either the market does something like this before getting momentum to buy, because here the overall trend is bullish, or if market doesn't do that, then we'll follow the next thing that market will do, which is if market is able to come back, if market is able to just dance and break this high here, they will be looking to buy, and our target to be the highest high of last week. Because yes, if this market should continue bullish, then it should be breaking structure to the upper side. So here's the narrative. It's very simple. If market pulls back into this demand zone right here and holds, then we'll be looking to buy from there. And if it doesn't break, if it breaks up here before, if it breaks up this daily high, then we'll be looking to buy to the last week highest point. You understand? Though we can also look for trading opportunities right here, but I don't think it's the wisest idea. But I will still tell you. You see this? Just remember, we have some kind of magnet for selling points here. We have this demand zone right here. You understand? So the trading idea on the 1 hour time frame would be, if market breaks this low here, you look to sell for a short term. I'm not going to take that kind of trade. I mean, it's very too small. I understand. So that is it on Euro USD. The plan is very quite simple. Top down analysis is just very simple as you see it. You understand? I'm done like this. I'll just wait for market to do the rest of the work. I do have setups on other pairs like GBP USD, as you can see clearly here. But believe me, everything you are seeing here is clearly the same thing with what I just explained. You understand? I don't want this video to be longer than it should already, so I'm just going to post this one on my YouTube. Just check my YouTube post. You must see this. I will post it on my YouTube post. See you guys next week.
Today is a great day because I choose to make it great. Today is a great day because I choose to make it great. I create win-win situations with everyone I come into contact with. I create win-win situations with everyone I come into contact with. I have patience with everyone, including myself. I have patience with everyone, including myself. Money comes to me easily, effortlessly, and abundantly. Money comes to me easily, effortlessly, and abundantly. I'm always in the right place at the right time. I'm always in the right place at the right time. I will embrace the grind. I will embrace the grind. Every day I live my dream. I just got back home right now, and yeah, I had a very stressful day. Yeah, I do have the trade this morning. I had a very nice trade too this day. Like this Monday started well. I guess the prayer I made today, God answered it. This week is going to be in our favor. So I had this nice trade that's closing a very nice profit this morning on Enterop. I also had other trade, but I haven't really checked it. And the last time I checked it, it was running very well. I don't really check my charts during the day that much, because to me, I believe it's quality over quantity. I don't take much of a trade, and just because you're busy on your charts doesn't mean you're getting any better. Progress in this trading thing doesn't is not measured by the quantity of trades you take, but the quality of decisions you make. Because in this trading, we are being paid by the decisions, by the quality of the decisions you make. Because one A+ setup will give you less headache than 100 trades in a day. So with that being said, let's just go through the trades I took this week, and yeah, I just hope this week continues like this. Let's just head off immediately to the chart.
Interrupt was the first win trade I had this week, and it's gave me $95 win. I'm just going to explain the trade now, starting from the weekly time frame. Now on the weekly time frame, as you can see, I marked out the highs and lows of last week candle. You can see the last week candle closed on a strong bullish move, which means we're suggesting that if this market must be continued bullish, it has to continue breaking, it has to break the last week high or pull back into some kind of nice demand zone before breaking high. So that is it on the weekly time frame. Now I went down to the going down to the daily time frame. Now on daily time frame, remember that this last week candle on this pair closed on a strong bullish, suggesting that if market has to continue the bullish move, it's either pulls back into a good zone, that is a demand zone, into a favorable zone, gain more momentum and break the last week high, you understand. So this candle has two things to do here: either it pulls back into a demand zone to continue its trend, or it just breaks the trend and continue, you understand. So on this daily time frame, I just marked out a reasonable zone where this market could possibly, when it if it wants to reverse, if it wants to first of all dip in, where it could possibly happen. And it was this daily the demand zone, this particular candle right here. So that is it on the daily time frame. Now let's go down on the 4 hour time. On the 4 hour time frame, which is where I build the story of the trade all about. Now on this 4 hour time frame, it's also the same concept on the 4 hour time frame. Already you know that if this market is going to be bullish, it has to either break this high or just pull back. So we had two things to do here in the market: either we wait for this market to break high to start buying, or it to break low so that we sell for a short term, but short term, you understand. So for that short term sell, my plan was, if this market is able to break this low here, if this market breaks this low here, then I will be going for a short term sell to this next demand zone, you understand. Now you want to understand this clearly until I go. Let me go down the 1 hour time frame, so I will break it down more for you. So on the 1 hour time frame, all I did on this 1 hour time frame is just to trade the continuation of this substructure downtrend, you understand. So markets had a high here, we came here, formed a low, come here, we formed a new high. So the plan was very simple: if market is able to break this low, then I'll be looking to sell if market pulls back again. And that was exactly what I did. After market broke this low here, validating that this substructure downtrend is still intact, you understand. So after market broke this low here, I placed my sell limit just at the next supply zone right here, and my take profit at this next demand zone here. You see that this trade went super very well. So as you can see, my trade are very simple. I don't draw too much on my chart just to make a trade. I just build story and logics around my trade, that if market does this, I do the other one. If market does this, very simple. Might be going long on this trade again if we see some validation, confirmation here, that is if market change its trend to a bullish trend again by giving us a structure like this. So that is it for trade 1. And the trade 2 was on was on US 30, which after dancing in profit, it later closed in loss. US 30 on the weekly time frame, using the same storyline, I marked out the highs of last week and low of last week. And as you can see, last week candle is strongly bullish. As you can see, this last week candle is very bullish, and it's suggesting only one thing: that this market on a long run will be bullish. So now for this market to be bullish, it either does it has to do one thing for us: it has to break last week high to continue the bullish storyline. So I went down to the daily time frame. Going down to this daily time frame with the same narrative, you can see this is last week high. If this bullish move has to be continued, it has to do only two things for us: either it breaks this high and continue its bullish move, then we'll start looking for buys there, or it pulls back into a good demand zone before start buying high. See, the only zone I see this market to be reacting from is this red candle right here, this red candle, because after this red candle got this strong bullish candle that took out this highs here, you understand. So confirming this place, if we get any reaction from here, maybe markets might be reacting to the upper side. So the narrative is quite simple. So now that we know that this market has two things to do for us: either it pulls back into a good demand zone to start buying, or it breaks new high, or just break the low to just change the whole trend of a thing one time. On this hourly time frame, I just try to take advantage of the pullback that might possibly occur, the pullback to demand zone, for the next move. This market came here, gave us a high. We came here, formed a low, came here, formed a high, came here, we formed a low, came here, formed a new high. So basically this market was on a minor downtrend. So after market gave me this high, this break of structure right here, after this break here, I plan to sell from the supply zone to my take profit was going to be on this daily demand zone right here, but that didn't happen. That didn't work as planned. That didn't went as planned because market spike took me out. See, all my trades use the same storyline. Understand? I currently have a trade on US 30 on this US CHF, which is still the same storyline. I will explain this trade later, maybe tonight, because it's getting noisy here. Even BTC, I have this trade, I have this setup on gold. I have set up on BTC. BTC is still dancing. See, it's still dancing. At some point, I believe that to keep trading Forex, to keep coming back, you need to be crazy because Forex is crazy. Sleeping last night in a $50 profit on this GJ trade and waking up this morning in losses. Isn't that crazy? But I woke up this morning, did my thing professional. I had to keep it professional, yeah. Because when they say someone is professional, it doesn't mean that the person doesn't take a loss. It just means that no amount of loss can stop the person. The person has passed that phase, and I also understand that losses is among the game. I had to keep it professional and don't allow the losses to weigh me down. Because at some point you have to learn how to let things go to move on with your day.
I just got back from work and I would lie to you. Today has been a very wonderful, productive day for me, both in trading. I had very wonderful trades today that ended in a good profit. Like as it stands right now, I think I'll be going off the market for the week, for the whole week, because market has really run enough this week. And yeah, the whole stuff. You see this thing they say sometimes sometimes things go in your favor and sometimes it doesn't. Last week I can remember by this time last week I was mourning. I was in pains. A lot of things were happening, but this week is very, very different. And I guess my I was listening, myself was listening to me when I said this week must be in my favor, and God has been doing it. I had a wonderful trade on USD CHF, and I'll show you guys in a short while every trade I took today. So without even wasting much of your time, because me I'm very, very tired like this. Let's just head over to the chat. Peace out.
USDCHF was the trade that made my day today, and as a matter of fact, it's the trade that made my week. So I'm just going to explain the trade. I don't want this video to hit 30 minutes, so I'll just do everything fast. Starting from the weekly time frame. If you watch this video to this moment, you already know what to expect from this my weekly time frame. Okay. Now on the weekly time frame already, what I do is I mark out the lowest, the highs and low of last week candle, and as you can see by studying the last week low candle, you can see that this last week candle closed in bearish, suggesting that in the long run, if market is able to break this low, then it will continue bearish. Now market has two things to do for us, just like I've been explaining since this video. It either pulls back into a supply zone to a premium level to sell from, or it just break this low here. And what we'll be waiting for next week, this week, is a break of this low to start selling, or just a pullback into a supply zone. So with that in mind, let's go down to the daily time frame. Now on the daily time frame, I don't think I had much details here, rather than just waiting for this market to break the structure here, rather than waiting for this market to break beneath this last week low, and I will start looking for sell opportunities. And yeah, going down to the 4 hour time frame. Right now on the 4 hour time frame, remember I told you that we are anticipating two things to happen in this market. It's either that this market pulls back into supply zone like this here before start selling, or it just breaks structure. That is the new day last candle was here. So I was waiting for market to break this low so I could start selling, and my first take profit would be this last week low or the last 2 weeks low. You understand? And that setup came on. Let me just go down to the 1 hour time frame so you see it. That setup came here. As you can see, let me use this. Let me explain it with this. You see, market came here, had a high, we came here from the low, came here from the new high, and we formed a new low here. Now as you can see here, we have some form of consolidations right here before this market broke, and after the consolidation we had this kind of flip zone, which is also a supply zone. The market has already tapped in, invalidating the zone. So I looked for another opportunity to sell this market, and when market came here, and when market gave us this move again after breaking this, it gave us this new move, breaking this low here, then I targeted this first supply zone to sell from. This supply zone that took at this level, this last low here, I targeted sell from it, but market didn't pull back in it, so market started selling. Now remember, on a weekly time frame, our initial place that we're waiting for market to break so we start selling is this particular zone, that this particular level that it has taken out. You understand? So immediately market took out that level. Let me delete this thing. Immediately market took out that low, you already know what to expect. Already we know that if market is able to take out last week low, then it's clearly a good sign of bearish. And we've been waiting for it to clear either this low to continue bearish, or just pull back. So it didn't pull back, it's rather take the other side. So now immediately market broke out this place, it left me with this supply zone on the 30 minutes time frame. I guess yes, it's on the 30 minutes time frame. Yeah, on this 30 minutes time frame, as you can see this clear supply zone with fair value gap, and that was where I started trading. I placed my take profit around this place. Initially, this trade was a 1:5. I was supposed to be making $117 here, but I closed it at $70. At least I thought I thought profit. It is something. I closed it at $70 because I was busy already in the day, and yeah, I think I've already made enough because this week we are already 2% up. Yeah, and I think with that trade now, I will be off for the week. Like last Tuesday ended in rough. Tuesday is ending very well, so I guess this is a good sign and a good time to go off the market. Although I have this trade on JPY that's still running, I'm just going to leave that trade to run, so the markets decide the fate of that. But on a norm, I'm done like this. Three, five trades total for this week. Two win, three losses, but we are still floating $117 profit. It is all about calculation in this forest. So guys, see you guys next week on this challenge.